Hey YouTube, Dan Otto here, and like the title said, I won the Toronto Regional Championship because the real winners are the ones who make friends along the way. In terms of battling, where you can actually measure wins and losses, no, I did terribly, but that is okay. I'm going to go over the Toronto Regionals. I'm going to go over how it ran because I've got some pros and cons to the event and then pros and cons to my matches and how I would have changed my team and changed my battling and everything. But for those of you who have never been to a Toronto Regional or a regional in general, it's basically, so I walk in, it's a big sort of convention center. You walk in and there are, oh God, there's probably like, I don't know, 50 to 100 tables in the middle of it. And the outside there's like vendors. And then the far back corner is Pokemon Go. And Pokemon Go has like, I don't know, there's like 30 matches that can go on, 5 tables, 5 rows of tables. And then, so there's like 115 Pokemon Go people and 1,000 TCG players, right? So TCG seems to be a huge game, Pokemon Go, much smaller. So I went to the back there and we all were supposed to meet there at 9 o'clock where they were over the rules and everything. So the biggest pro of this entire event was the people. Like if you've never been to one of these events, it was so cool just to see all the different people who like cared about GBL, because like if you go to your general day-to-day, like on Twitter you can follow people who like GBL, and then if you're like playing Silpher and Discord, you'll get the people who like GBL. But for the most part, the larger Pokemon community does not care about GBL. So to be with a group of people who actually care about GBL was interesting. The thing that surprised me the most was, even though I was wearing a mask, the amount of people that like recognized me, like within like 10-15 minutes of being there before the start of 9 o'clock, I think I had like 10 to 15 different people like come up to me and like, hey, love your channel, your content's amazing. I'm like, this is crazy. Like I never expected that. Like I expected that to happen with like the bigger content creators. I'm only at like just approaching 12,000 subscribers, so I was very surprised by that. Thanks to everyone who said hi, really made my day. So that was one of the pros. As you saw in the thumbnail picture, I meant in terms of content, again, I don't really care just about meeting content creators. It's interesting to meet them because you watch them, so you feel like you know them, but I haven't actually met the majority of them. So I met Poke Daxi. We talked we've done collabs and everything, so I definitely talked to him a lot more anyways. But Oxford U was there, so I chatted with him, got him as a friend on my game, got his real number in real life, so we're going to keep in touch there. And then I met, at the end of the night, Daniel Z and Killer Pang, because after everyone was done and left, they kind of came out, so I was just talking to them for a bit. And then Mr. Tamakacha, he's a subscriber here. He always submits content. He's got his own channel, so talked to him. Talked to a few other, I think, Mystic Sparkle, and a couple other, like I talked to a lot of people, and then a lot of just subscribers came up to say hi. So it was really cool. Like it was really fun to see everyone. Thanks for those who said hi. So that was definitely the biggest highlight of it. Let's go to the one very bad con. One, I don't know how I like the pros or cons of it. I'll go over that, and then one interesting outcome with the judging. So biggest con, tons of lag, tons of just game crashes. I think I'll go over how they did it, but like one person had to change the table 3 times every game. There was like lag. I got in my game 3 that I played in my first match, we both lagged 5 to 6 turns. So like I think it's just like internet connection in Canada is bad to begin with. Plus like it just didn't have the server capacity to deal with that. Apparently the ones on stream like did fine, but the rest of us in the corner where we were all playing, tons of issues. So that was a huge disappointment because I heard that others were going fine. I think it was just because like they said they were running more than normal because they were running, like I said, I think it was 30-ish battles at a time. So there was like 60 phones connected to the network all trying to get on at once. So that was kind of disappointing. But you know, it's the games that we're used to. The flow of the day, they changed it. This is the first time they changed it. So basically what happened is there's 4 groups, A, B, C, D. How it happened before was A and B played in the morning, C and D played in the afternoon. So the pro of that was you would just play like more continuously, right? You play a match, you win or lose, and then not as long later, you play your next match and then go on forth. So that all the A's and B's were done in the morning and all the C's and D's were in the afternoon. So the pro of that is that you get more just continuity in your battle. Like you're playing more often, you get used to the game, you get used to the phones and everything. How it worked now is they wanted every single person there at 9 a.m. And basically what they said was they're going to do rolling interval 1 match per group. So how it worked is Group A started at 9. They played their opening match. 15 minutes later, Group B did their opening match. 15 minutes later, Group C. 15 minutes later, Group D. And then it rotated to Group A again to do their second matchup, either win or loss. So the pro is everyone is there at 9 o'clock because you have to be there at 9 o'clock. So it's, like I said, if the main point of this, I think the success of this is meeting the people. So from that perspective, it was great. 2 perspectives why I think this was a terrible idea. 1, so I was in Group D. So I got there at like 8. They went over the registration stuff and everything, told us all this at 9. My first match was supposed to be at 10. Because of all the lag and stuff, my first match ended up being 10, 15-ish or so. I played 1 3-games match, and then I had to wait till 11:45 for my second match. So you're waiting an hour and a half to your next match. And then I go over the matches, and then I lost that match, and then my game was done. So it just like, the flow wasn't there, right? I would just like sit for an hour and a half, play 1 set of 3, sit another hour and a half, play another. Like it just, the flow wasn't there, and you wouldn't have got that if you did like the sections A and B in the morning, C and D in the afternoon. So I didn't like the flow. And also I didn't like that like people were like exploring, right? So we were set in the back where there was like thousands of people playing TCG. They're the main stages just a bit down. So a lot of people, if they were like after their match, would go to the main stage just to watch. But then you couldn't like hear when you were called. So you just had to like keep checking your phone to see when you are assigned a table. Which again, it could be like they give you estimates, but those estimates weren't 100% because of all the lags and all, like some guys went quicker, some guys went slower. So what happened was if you didn't refresh your phone enough and you missed your table and you weren't there within like the first like 5 minutes of like them assigning you a table, you forfeited the game. And that happened to like a few people where like people just did not show up. Like if you actually looked at the scorecard, there's quite a lot of like, you'll see like -1s. That means people just didn't show up for their time. And it wasn't because like they just like didn't show up to the event. It was like, well, there's a couple of them, but like for the most part, it was just like they didn't show up because they didn't like see their table time assigned. So I feel like if they kept it in blocks, you would really know when you were playing, that you could just like stick around and then like get some more in the flow. So I did not love the time in between in that. So that was the pros and cons of that. My battles. Let's go over my battles because I had a very, very interesting. So I had a bracket from hell. I had 3 regional winners, like Bird Power, Cindy, and a few others, and I forget the third one. Plus I had a couple regional runners up, like Enhoff. Plus I had like some of the top people, like Onion Frank, like top 5 GBL leaderboard constantly. I was never ever gonna make it out of that bracket to start with. Toronto was loaded with talent. So my first match, I won my first game. I lost my second game off of a bonehead play on my part where I shielded something I did not shield, and I lost track of energy. And I'll go over my conclusions at that. And the third game, we both got the lag. It was my Abomasnow into their Toxicroak, and we both got continual lag. And so I did not know how much energy they had, and they got off a second Mud Bomb before I even got off another move, even though I could have got off the move. No, it was my Lantern. Sorry, it was my Lantern against their Toxicroak, and they got off the second Mud Bomb, which is super effective. So I had to double shield, and then I was so far behind. I lost that game by a mile because I had no chance once I lost track. But you can't, because the lag was mutual. You can't argue like, I'm sorry you lost track of your counting because we had like 5 or 6 turn lag, but like too bad you both had it. So I'm like, okay, whatever, that's fine. After the match, we entered the score 2-1, and after the match, I was like, did they bring a Shadow Dragonite? Because their form said Purified Dragonite, And they did. So I was like, okay, that's weird, but whatever. Like, I don't really care too much. I'm like, I just told her, my opponent, I'm like, just FYI, like, your card says purified, but like, you brought a shadow. And then she's like, so she went to go talk to the judges. And what the judges did was banned her from using the Shadow Dragonite moving forward and gifted her next opponent a win against her to punish her for using it in my matchup. So there's two things that I like kind of pissed me off in this. One was the registration process, because the registration process, you had to input online. There was a online form. You had to manually. It's not like for those of you who have like played Sylph Arena, it's not like you click on a picture and like click a button for. It was just basically like a word writing form. It was a click. So it was word writing form. You had to write in your Pokemon. You had to write in the CP. You had to write in the HP. And then there was 3 boxes at the bottom: Best Buddy, Shadow, and Purified, right beside each other. So clearly my opponent meant to click Shadow, but you just accidentally click Purified. So if you were ever going to do a regional, and this has come up in Sylph, like one of the biggest issues is you will get penalized if you put in the wrong form. So if you're ever going to be in these tournaments, double check, triple check, quadruple check. Give it to a friend and read it out to make sure that they see what you're doing is correct. Give it to another friend to make sure that they see that your Pokemon are right, because putting in the wrong Pokemon seems to be the biggest issue for that. Second issue is the Purified Dragonite doesn't exist under 1500 CP, because you purify to level 25 and all those Dragonites are over 1500 CP. So that doesn't even exist. So if this was a form that was real, they would have caught that realistically Dragonite Purified. I think someone said there's one obscure way to get it, but it doesn't exist. So my opponent bought a Pokemon that doesn't exist. So it's like the form issue. And then the third thing I had was like, okay, our score was already locked in. Had I caught it during the matchup, I could have argued it, but we already put in the score. I can't go back after the fact. I'm fine with that. Again, I didn't have no chance anyways. What I had a problem was, okay, she inputted the Pokemon wrong. You can't use it moving forward. Why would you gift her next opponent a win as a punishment for something that happened the previous match? That made no sense to me. And she ended up losing the next game and was off to the loser bracket. So that kind of like pissed me off. I think that was a really, really dumb judging error. So I was like, okay, whatever. I missed it because we already logged in the score. She screwed up because she clicked Purified instead of Shadow. But don't gift the next opponent a free win because of a mistake that happened in the past. Like, that's ridiculous. So that kind of pissed me off. And then my game 2, I played Bird Power. So for those of you who don't know, Bird Power has already been to Worlds and she won regionals. So no shot. I didn't actually play badly against her. The problem with my team is there's two things with my performance that I need to switch moving forward. One, those of you know, like, I'm not good with typings. That's one thing. I don't count. I don't count the moves, so I don't know like what they're at. Game 2 of the first match, I had that game won. I was against I had an Abomasnow with almost full health. We both had no shields. I was against a Lapras, and Dragonite had 1 HP left. Lapras was a move. I assumed it was a Ice Beam or Skull Bash. I shield, the Dragonite comes back and superpowers me one shot. Had I counted moves properly, I would have known what the move was. Like, I think it was only an Ice Beam. Had I known how much an Ice Beam does, I probably wouldn't have shielded. Had I remembered that the Dragonite had energy, I wouldn't have shielded because I needed the shield for that to shield that. And then I was at an energy bell already, and I just got caught off guard. So that was an easy 2-0 win that I just completely screwed up because I do not take the game technical enough to be good. So if I really wanted to compete in these things, I would need to know how to start. I need to start counting energy. I need to start remembering how much energy people have banked, because it's fine in GBL. It's not fine against like the best in the world. So that was the first thing. The second thing is my team. I love Shadow Abomasnow. It was a great pick. The problem was I overthought it and I brought too many non-meta and not enough bulk. And it's so frustrating because constantly on this channel I say bulk is better, bulk is better, bulk is better. When we did the content creator tournament against Tho and Yonkis, I said my team is bad because it doesn't have bulk, and I just got out bulked by Yonkis when I played him even though I won a game and I was close in the third game, I was just outbulked by his team and my team didn't have bulk. So stupid on me for saying bulk is better, realizing that I didn't have enough bulk in that consecrated tournament, and then not bringing enough bulk for this tournament, because like in the game, we just had like my Kanto Ninetales or my Shadow Swampert against Metacham. And it's just like you lose that matchup just based on like the counter adding up because your Pokemon are too glassy. So I would definitely bring more bulk next time. But those are my thoughts on it. I ended up winning a side event to get like a... So you got a couple... if you registered and you did a certain tier, you played a side event. So I played a side event. I went 3-0 there. And I won 4 tickets for the prize wall. And I got like a Munchlax plushie that my daughter has now. So that is it. That was a tournament. Overall, really fun. Would definitely 100% do it again. I still... So again, the pro were the people, 100%. It was great meeting everyone. Great. Thanks for staying high if you said hi. Hope to meet more of you in these future events. I still, because this is my first regional. And it was really, really fun. I still, there was one thing that was like, and Bird Power, so actually, hi Bird Power, because she said, when I sat down with her, she was like, I like your content, by the way. Can we stay friends in the game? I'm like, yeah, of course. That's awesome. It was crazy to see these people who've already won regionals and qualified for worlds playing a regional too. And it's interesting because in TCG, you get points. So you have to play as many regionals as you can. In this, it's not the same because like once you qualified for worlds, you're qualified. But a lot of people play more than one because, I don't know, chance to win more money, stuff like that. But it's just like, I always said this. I said it last time when there was no regionals in Toronto. Last cycle, there was no regionals in Toronto. And people were flying all over North America to play. Like I think Rise and a few others played in like 3 to 5 regionals. And again, Rise is sponsored. Rise is one of like the best. I'm not calling out Rise in particular. I just always find it interesting that like people can play up to like 3 to 5 regionals if they have the time and money to get to these regionals. Whereas like I am like, thank you, wife, for letting me drive down 4 hours so I can play in a local regional, because this is the only opportunity I will ever have to play, unless it's somewhere between Toronto and Montreal. Those are the only regionals I'm going to play. Like it needs to be within like a 4-hour drive, because I have like wife, 2 kids, full-time job. So like I cannot spend thousands of dollars on a plane ride to somewhere in the States plus hotel just to play in a tournament to come back like a few days later. Like it just, again, everyone's circumstance is different, but I was always kind of just like, it's interesting that these people can play like 4 to 5, and I'm just like, thank you Toronto, because I can now play one. Anyways, fun event. Definitely will play another regional. Definitely need to be way better at this game before I play the next one. That's for sure. But all in all, it was a fun event. Got to see lots of people who I hadn't seen before. And then we did like a few of us from my faction team and Ox. We went and we raided the Mega Day for a couple hours. And so I'm already way past this. So if you're with me, you are definitely one of my people who like watching these videos. Thank you. I think Specimen Unknown, who always buys me the tickets for these events, always buys the community day tickets, and bought me an event ticket for this mega. So we did all the raids. We did 2 full hours of raids. So we probably did like, I don't know, 10 to 15 raids. I got, despite having the ticket because he bought it for me, I got 2 XL candies. Like, the bonus chance with the ticket was BS, and I know everyone online had the same issue. So that was super disappointing that I got like 2 XLs out of 15 raids, even though I have the ticket bought for me. So I don't know. Like, thank you for the ticket, but I don't know if you need to buy me these tickets going forward, because like it just seems that even if you're buying these tickets, you're not getting a bang for your buck, in my opinion. But thank you, appreciate it. Anyways, that's enough rambling. Tomorrow morning video on another Great League remix team with Steelix. Steelix, ABB Hypno, Lapras, Steelix, and Steelix is the rank 1 in Great League Remix. So check that out tomorrow morning. And thanks for watching. Thanks for saying hi, everyone, and I will see you guys in the next one.